Welcome to another tier list video, and even when this patch hasn't brought with new job changes, this tier list shall primarily serve as the correction of my 5.3 assumptions, as we have collected tons of data since the last upload, which will establish the foundation for this video. But of course, I cannot tell you often enough that this is only my personal experience, analysis of collected data, and doesn't matter much as you won't find such a wonderful balancing in any other game. And like always, you can and will clear every endgame content with each job available except Blue Mage. So without further ado, let us start with a big correction from last time. I'm sorry, not only through finally being able to play God of War, I also tried out my warrior in many dungeons and extreme trials. That I have to say, I was wrong. The 5.3 changes were definitely more impactful than I would have imagined, and the sustainability is from another star. Especially that you're literally able to survive a dungeon on your own now, by not relying on two group mates to be alive, so when they have died to a mechanic, keep on fighting boy. When looking at those extreme trial chart, it seems to have a very solid mid-range level. Even when top end players from other tanking jobs do take the lead here, it is solid nonetheless. And due to this personal epiphany of defensive opportunities with one of the best oh shit buttons from all tanks, this is a solid A rank. For the Dark Knight, we can really make it short. It is super tanky, super flexible, and the Blackest Knight could be one, if not the best defensive tool in game. Just that living dead ability can be a pain in the ass if your healer is not prepared or just lets you die intentionally. Damage wise, they're all very equal right now, and you should definitely make this decision according to your own preference and which playstyle appeals most to you. The same applies to a Paladin, still a powerhouse of versatility, one of the best off tanks due to sharing mechanics, active healing potential, and is the only one competing against the warrior's self-heal when it comes to make a stand by yourself. And yes, that happens quite frequently in dungeon groups. Damage wise, it is still right next to the Gunbreaker in most situations, and for me personally is one of the easiest to learn its rotation, so definitely an A rank as well. And yeah, I wouldn't dare to put Gunbreaker onto that S rank spot, nor below the others, even if some defensive tools are on the weaker side in direct comparison. But when it comes to high-end optimization, all that effectively counts is damage and passive or off-global damage mitigation, where the Gunbreaker still doesn't run into any disadvantages. So definitely A rank among them. Yes, a very balanced game it is indeed, but notions will change in our next section. So let us talk about the healing jobs. The Scholar still feels less powerful than its competition, maybe on the healing side of things, but when having a solid party composition and practice, it will still flow like crazy and can accomplish weaving its whole healing kit without wasting damage potential. The many OGCDs have pros and cons, but even if that hurts me as a former Scholar player, White Mage and Astrologian just feel better in every scenario, and especially when healing is seriously required. I don't feel comfortable as Scholar, which of course could easily be the case due to my lack of skill on this job, but nonetheless, until we see some improvements, Scholar will camp the B spot for me personally. Now again, I have to correct my previous claim and put the White Mage back onto the spot where it belongs. Even when the Astrologian can be more optimized and fine-tuned, the White Mage feels way more reliable and not RNG dependent, and maxing out your expertise can be accomplished much quicker than in the case of the Astrologian. The Lily system helps you through each situation and also rewards you with the strongest damage spell among all healers. Still, the chart shows that Astrologian and White Mage cannot be put away from each other, so I have to place it on the A spot. Yes, the balancing is insanely good at the moment. Of course, the Astrologian has seen some improvements on the MP department, but as far as I heard from some Astrologian mains, the revamp of the card system has decreased the fine-tuning and maximizing potential quite significantly, letting it fall onto the spot of the White Mage, just due to its power in every aspect. Still, when optimized and under well-organized raid situations, the Astrologian shines perfectly fine, and in combination with the White Mage can form a solid healing team. So pairing it up with White Mage into the A spot. Coming to the more problematic section, the ranged physicals. The Bard has seen some changes in the last patch, but unfortunately they haven't redressed the balance. The only thing that changed according to our chart is the rivalry between Dancer and Bard, which has become more even and balanced than before, and the increased dot damage did push the Bard over Dancer in many cases, but they are very close to each other. Unfortunately, they're still left behind all other DPS and sometimes even behind their machinist companion, so we're forced to give them a B rank. The same applies to the Dancer, who is strong in dungeons, loved by all other DPS jobs, and definitely an experience you should have witnessed by yourself, but the same arguments apply here that we had for the Bard. In multi-dot fights like Alexander Ultimate, the Dancer can catch up some ground, especially compared to the Machinist, but overall the stats are falling behind melee jobs and casters kinda significantly. But apart from that, a good Dancer can easily push out tons of damage and get the clear like all other jobs. And when they address the ranged physicals damage a bit, the balancing would be perfect. The Machinist works a bit differently, having no damaging support to its allies, but is able to push out very impressive DPS numbers by itself. Especially on not group optimized and fine-tuned fights, the overall Machinist player outperforms the overall player. And especially on fast target switches, the Machinist is one of the strongest ad killers. And yeah, taking the Machinist's damage plus a small margin of damaging support or a larger bit of defensive or utility advantages for the group would construct the perfect balancing for ranged physicals. So this would be my idea to balance the game and bring back the Machinist role membership, creating a ranged physical supporter bracket again. But for now, the Machinist has to remain on the B spot as well. Coming to melee jobs, which also provide a strong overall balancing. And when starting with the Ninja, it's still a good choice, and in direct comparison to the Dragoon, just a factor of personal preference. Either you like jutsu combinations or jumping abilities. You can choose both however you like them. And apart from that one exception, I would consider them all on the A rank position. Dragoon and Ninja are the prime example for this, and provide a solid raid support with trick attack or battle litany, and still push out solid personal DPS values. In Puppet's Bunker I had many ninjas or dragoons outperform my summoner or black mage performance, so everything's possible within that A tier. But there is still one exception in the form of the samurai. When looking at the Eden's Verse or Trials 2 chart, we can see a leap of power over its melee counterparts, and that depends mostly on this vast RNG range of its Tsubame Geshi and Midare combo. If both of these attacks land a critical hit and also do so multiple times in a single encounter, the damage output can be insane. And still, the overall samurai player is stronger than most jobs due to the fact that samurai is more straightforward to find yourself into than dragoon or ninja. And definitely way more straightforward than to find yourself into the monk, so placing it on S rank for now. That directly leads me to a brave decision that some of you may not like, but like I said, it is my personal experience and feeling about the jobs in 5.3 and 5.35, so here it is. The monk's battle system just doesn't feel right for me. At least it seems to not follow on a logical circle of rotating things, perfectly line up cooldowns and kinda logical button hierarchy. That indeed may construct its grace for some players. But I'm really looking for a full rework of this job to feel and flow like all other jobs do in Shadowbringers. And unfortunately, even these charts don't open up space for tremendous monk players to overcome their direct role competition, and sometimes they're even closer to our ranged physicals. So please, if you like the monk's battle system at the moment, don't let my ranking distract you at any point, which applies to all my assumptions and rankings here. But until I feel this job, or at least when it feels like being part of our Shadowbringers battle system line, I have to put it into the B spot. Where B is sort of a reminder of jobs that could see some love from the developer team. Please make Tornado Kick and Six-Sided Star useful at all. Okay, back to the usual business, starting our caster section with the Red Mage. Things are very simple. Damage potential next to melee jobs, plus the best raising potential among all jobs, plus being very straightforward to learn and to optimize. The Red Mage shines in all of its ways, and if someone would ask me for the best beginner job, that decision is always very easy, and the Red Mage my go-to recommendation. And since those 5.2 changes, it can definitely play with the big kids. So due to its raising potential on top of that, one of the strongest jobs in the A rank spot. Okay, these last two are my passion, my hate-love, and the jobs I played the most in this expansion. So starting with the Summoner. Yes, the 5.3 changes did nerf this job, and I would say it is not broken anymore. But still, the high lead in Ultimate Alexander, the multi-dot potential, and the insane amount of movability plus raising potential makes the Summoner one of the best choices for your static raiding group. And I know, the opener and 2-minute cycle can be threatening, but when you reach the point of a solid practice, this job can easily be taken into any new fight. And in my opinion is still the job where progress rating feels ultimately reliable. Forgot about mechanic? No problem, race is here. Oh, that's a lot of movement, no problem, I'm in Firebird trance anyways. No stance active and still moving? Let us trade Rune 3 against 2 and we're still fine. So in every situation the Summoner is a powerhouse, not falling far behind Black Mage and Samurai in raw damage potential. And above that is still a strong choice for dungeons or doing daily content by requiring next to zero combat build-up. Far from it, flying from A rank mob to A rank mob will even push you into the next powerful part of your 2-minute cycle automatically. I would love to say I'm biased, but ask others, the summoner is one of the most versatile DPS jobs in this game, and I guess we won't see that being changed in Shadowbringers. Still a solid S tier job. That takes us to the final job on this list, the Black Mage. I have taken up the adventure to play more Black Mage by myself in the past weeks, mainly to check if the skill requirement to reach solid numbers is really that high. And guess what? Yes, reaching the top score and performing a flawless encounter is next to impossible, and the hardest challenge I had in this game. But even when you're not performing flawlessly, sticking to your basics and having some good crits will still throw you on top of the DPS chart. That means with nearly no perfect execution, I could still pull the numbers of my summoner and even glide through the result a bit, which definitely surprised me. And to be honest, the feeling of, hey, I made these 3 crucial mistakes which did cost me around 1k DPS, is way more satisfying than the idea of, oh damn, I need to avoid using a single rune 2 spell in that encounter. And that means the reward is way heavier when you're pushing out a perfect rotation, and it may be difficult but is satisfying to optimize, because the basic rotation is more simple than most rotations on other jobs. So, due to the fact that the number 1 Black Mage still performs the number 1 DPS in overall rankings, except Ultimate Alexander, this job is still the king of DPS, or at least those magnificent explosions provide the feeling to be. So let's embrace darkness and bury the light for this top ranked S job that I would love to see in the spotlight in the upcoming expansion. I mean, it's a Final Fantasy classic, so why not? Okay, here we are again. Please take all of this with a grain of salt, as I am not a rating expert and this is only my point of view, so no solid facts or scientific reports are presented. Every job can clear this game, and especially the true end game, so make your decisions according to what you like, what you feel, and what job you love. Thank you for watching, thanks to my patrons, and check out my live streams on Twitch. Until next time, stay healthy, stay safe, and keep loving Final Fantasy.